Welcome to this episode of the Sports Nutritionist podcast. I'm here with Jono Steedman.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for coming, mate.
Cheers, thanks for having me.
So Jono is from Bite Me Nutrition. He's got a pretty big following, so some of you may know him. And if you don't, go check him out. It's at Jono Steedman, correct?
Yes, that's
yep. Cool. I'm pronouncing your surname correctly.
Well, no, but no one does. It's Steedman.
Oh, really?
It's like even I introduce.
Okay, I'm going to intro it. No. Okay, we're going to keep this for the funny bit on social.
Even I say Steedman.
Do you really?
Like when I'm just introducing myself.
Okay, Jono Steedman. Like no, this is good. Okay, all right. So this is for the behind the scenes. No, this is good. This is good shit. If we eventually cut it, Michael goes on holiday in weekend one day. So yeah, we'll hopefully get this one out before he goes because this is funny. All right. How far into this am I? Okay, 2 minutes. Perfect. So welcome back to the Sports Nutritionist podcast. I'm here with Jono Steedman from Bite Me Nutrition. If you follow him, great. If not, give him a follow at Jono Steedman, but spelt Steedman.
Yeah, it's silly. It's two E's, Steedman.
Okay, but yeah. Steedman. So if you say his name and shout him out on video or audio, don't make the mistake that I did at the beginning and pronounce it incorrectly.
I'll think nothing of it. It's fine. It's okay.
That's all good. So, mate, thanks for coming on. Really pumped to be talking about this because we speak about sports nutrition and the profession a lot on here, but a lot of the stuff that we focus on is, I guess, giving people a look behind the curtain as to what it looks like to be a practitioner and a successful practitioner in the nutrition space. And so dietetics and dietitians are a big part of the nutrition world. And so although this isn't technically sports nutrition, hey, we can have sports dietetics and stuff. It's something that I do want to, at least, one in every few episodes that we do, talk to someone in the dietetics space. So that way we can see how well they're successfully practicing as well. And I would say, credit to yourself, you're running a good practice, which is good to see.
Thank you.
And you're an outlier as far as the industry stats are concerned as well, right? So it's like the majority of private practice dietitians fail within the first year. Sort of about 70%, 70 or 80%, roughly was the last.
I have not even looked those stats up because I don't want to know. Like ignorance is bliss.
And so you've been out on your own doing private practice for the last 2 years now?
Yeah, I think about two, bit over two.
Okay,
yep.
Sweet. Yeah. And then just on that, so you're an outlier. Congrats.
Thank you. High praise.
And that's not only that, are you doing well for yourself, but you've got people under you now as well, right?
Yeah, we've got Kimberly's another dietitian at Bite Me Nutrition. Got a couple of admin staff as well. Emily's a admin superstar. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So, mate, you're in rare company, rare air. The only other dietitian that I've had on here is Aiden, and that was about 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Maybe even 2 years ago, depending on.
Yeah, time's weird post-COVID though. Hey.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of restrictions with COVID, so it really just sort of depends on where we're at that point. I'm just going to tweak my position a little bit because I'm like, oh, this is probably in the way, and Michael will just get pissed if I don't address that. I've addressed it for you, mate. It's all good. So, mate, talk to me. We were talking about this before, but for anyone listening, can you give them the rundown? You went to uni, did your undergrad. Yeah. Let's say, talk to us about how you got to where you are at this point in time.
Yeah, cool. So did a bunch of stuff after school, did a music degree, taught, did some IT stuff. It's terrible. Hated it, hated my life, was miserable to be around. And my then girlfriend, now wife, was like, you need to do something else. And so went back to uni at maybe 24, I want to say. I went to UQ, did the Bachelor of Exercise Nutrition Science, which is their 3-year undergrad, and then used that as the pathway into the Master's of Dietetic Studies. Graduated sort of mid-2018, and then worked for a couple of different people post-graduation, and then just sort of fell into working for myself, and here we are.
So did you did you go into the undergrad with the intention of becoming a dietitian? That was always the goal?
Yeah. So because the undergrad leads to a couple of different pathways, so I had to make sure that I'd done 8 of these subjects and 4 of these subjects and stuff to make sure that.
And there's a lot of electives to choose from.
Oh yeah, it was like you could have got to the end of the degree and graduated, but then not be eligible for the masters. So had to make sure that you followed the pathway, and then have to apply and hopefully get a position, all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, I remember checking out that overview, and a lot of these degrees, and like we were talking about this before, I think there's like 17 in Australia of these iterations of exercise science, nutrition science, exercise and nutrition science, sports and exercise science.
Yeah.
The list goes on, right? And I was looking at UQ's exercise and nutrition science, and I think like, look, this is a horrible recollection attempt. Like, this is not going to be accurate, but there was like 30 to 40 something electives in that program to choose from.
I mean, my memory of it is hazy as well, but it was pretty.
They probably updated it since you've gone through as well. Like,
true. Yeah.
But
there was a lot. There were some core units, and of a lot of the electives, a lot of them were predetermined for me because I was doing the masters. So I definitely could have done quite a different collection of things.
Yeah.
Like the first.
There was like history of like one of the few subjects were like history of like Australian sport at the Olympics and stuff, and it's just like
I don't know what those like. I mean, I guess if you were wanting to move into, no, I don't know who would take that, but anyway,
yeah, dude, right? Like, I was looking
academic.
at it, right?
If you want to do a PhD, I guess you would
and study like sports performance. Yeah, definitely. But I think like 99% of the work is in private practice. So like
totally, I think there's like 2 hospital spots for dietitians. Well, probably not quite that many, but positions are very
joke, right?
Yeah.
It was like 2 hospital positions.
Someone has to die, basically. Yeah. Or go on maternity leave. That's usually what happens.
And it's like that for like ex-phys with like city council and state government. It's like there's only a few. So if you win the lotto and you get one of those jobs, that's great. But for the majority of you, if you're doing ex-phys, sorry to break it to you, you're going to be in private practice.
I also knew about 6 minutes into my first hospital prac. I was like, I hate this. So I knew that I was never even going to apply for any hospital position.
Going through the trash and seeing what had been eaten.
Yeah. Oh, food service. Yeah. Just like, well, that and like seeing a client once and then like, don't get me wrong, hospital dietitians do a very important job, but it's very different in terms of it's very medical. You don't often, there's not much behavior change. There's not much lifelong change. Obviously in the hospital bed, they're trying to get them well and get them gone, which is a very different model to private practice.
Yeah, what you currently align with.
Yeah. And so I knew pretty much straight away. And I'm not smart enough to be a hospital dietitian as well. Man, they're smart. Like there's just a lot. But and the degrees are definitely geared towards, at least in my experience, we're geared towards hospitals. Yeah. Virtually all of the sports nutrition information I got was because of electives that I chose that were outside in the undergrad that were outside of the pathway. We did literally one lecture on sports nutrition in my master's. So any other sports nutrition stuff that I wanted was either like, I guess, self-study, so they call it, right? Or picking electives. So
and that's like it for the majority of people as well. Like it's still, I would say at this point, regardless of, look, there's a few institutes globally that we work with who we're aware of that have like better access to undergrad, like better access to like at an undergrad level for that information. Yeah. At just like core subjects, but a lot of them just don't have it. It's this like weird sort of, if you're fortunate, you've got some electives in your undergrad. Otherwise, it's like a post-grad thing and you can start like learning about it. And it's sort of like, the crazy thing is like understanding like the metabolism at that capacity and understanding how to manipulate like I guess like adaptive thermogenesis and
that was definitely none of that at all. It was all like reading Eric Drexler's stuff. That's how I learned about that. It's more, I think there was a lot of, you learn the biochemistry, you learn the biology and the physiology and everything, and you learn the nutrition stuff, but you had to kind of do the work yourself to join the dots between the two, if that made sense. So that's probably, it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, it definitely didn't feel like there was a formal component to the sports nutrition stuff.
Yeah. It's it's interesting. So you were saying before, like when you finished your degree, you knew you were going on that pathway. But
so briefly, like you have to, end of undergrad, you have to apply for the masters, obviously. And I didn't get an offering in the first round. And so I was like, what do I do now? Like, do I do honors? Can I be a nutritionist? Like, what am I? I've got a Bachelor of Exercise Nutrition Science, but like, what does that mean for registration? And I think I like Googled some things and basically came up with, anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, that joke. And I was like, I don't
know, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, totally. Yeah.
We would love to have like the general mark sports nutritionist completely protected.
Totally.
But so that way we could be like, hey, these are the minimum education requirements. These are the minimum like experiential requirements. These are the like codes of conduct for the professionals that are required for it. So that way there's a layer of protection for the public.
Yeah.
But we can't get that. Like,
that
you know, like getting
huge.
getting accredited sports nutritionists as like a certification mark, so it's like relatively like government backed, is a hard enough process as it is.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting toward the end of that, and that'll be really cool.
Awesome.
And then obviously like we got the like title and logos and stuff there, but obviously like cert mark is like good. That's like the standard in terms of like if someone like say pilots, they go, oh, I'm an accredited sports nutritionist.
Yeah.
Then the ACCC are like, hey, you owe.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that, and also this fine applies, and we actually get a part of it. So
amazing.
Eventually, if people violate it enough, we'll eventually get an ROI. But
yeah. I don't know if that's a great business model. Just waiting for people to be.
No, we're not doing. Obviously, we're not doing.
No, that's awesome though. But yeah, it is the dream, right? To have in our industry. I'm sure there's lots of industries I don't know about where it's like that as well. But I feel like our industry in particular, like just unaccredited, uncertified practitioners are just like running rampant because it's. You know, it's the cult of personality. It's to do with marketing and following and, you know, influence rather than, and not that credentials are everything. They're a good place to start, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I think credentials and rego, like, and obviously like rego is becoming, like we were talking about this before, like, you know, like certain bodies do really good things and other ones, they just sort of like take your money and are sort of like, you know, fuck you paying.
You get the stamp.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. And so, but like say there's like, it's a registration with a good third party, like a good registration body. There's good third party audits. These things exist, then like it's a good thing. Then that registration has merit to it. But like, yeah, unfortunately, you know, some are sort of evolving and mutating into these things that aren't that great. But
yeah,
you know, I hold our hopes out that you know the rest can sort of like, you know, hopefully we're doing some good stuff. Hopefully, you know, there's some other ones out there doing some really good things, and we can just sort of keep inspiring the positive movement of it.
Yeah.
But I would say like, yeah, definitely credentials, experience, and then if like relevant meritocratic registration.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a place for all of that. And then you've got someone checking in on you, someone making sure you know you've got some level of like shadowing or observation or just standards.
Yeah, making sure that like for us, for instance, like we like every professional member that we have, we've got like that risk assessment that they need to do, like there's like high, moderate, low risk and stuff. So it's like send every single client that you're currently working with, and every year that gets reassessed. So it's like have all the high risk ones being referred. Do you have your clearance, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And that's like, you've probably seen in the private members group anyway. It's like, hey, who are the online dietitians? And we'll probably get a question like that once a week.
Yeah.
From the members with that. So it's good. So like, it's definitely, you know, like trending in the right direction. But yeah, I think sort of back to you, because it's more about you, which may be a weird concept, right?
Yeah. Talk about that.
Like what your experience was like in terms of like, oh, what am I? That's like what a lot of people graduating from those programs are like. Like we've got a member of ours who's an openly accredited member, and she's a like national coordinator for all of exercise, biz, science, nutrition science, like practicums.
Yeah, wow.
Within a university, and she's like, a few people from these programs can't graduate and register with anything.
Yeah.
It's like not ESSA, not us, because like we've got 12 subjects they need to have done.
Yeah.
And so what we're setting up now is like pathways where they can fill in subjects. But I think you're like I was saying to you sort of prior to, a lot of people just aren't aware. And you were fortunate in the sense that you looked into it and you had the pathway.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It would have ended up with a very expensive sort of piece of paper. Like obviously would have informed my practice as a nutritionist, but you know, from the outside, it would have made me no difference from someone who'd just gone, I'm going to set up a nutrition practice.
Yeah. You would have just been the gut health SIBO coach.
Yeah.
You were lecturing about
on my yacht somewhere, probably after I've given you your individual GI mapped protocol
from your hair.
Yeah. Oh, all of it. It's all the bodily fluids. I feel like they'll
your hair and the mobile respirating device that can tell you exactly what's going
now,
or now, whatever.
Oh, I don't know. I know the lumen. Lumen?
Oh, lumen. Yeah, sorry.
But I don't know. Anyway,
I think I was naming the now.
Isn't that a band?
Yeah, I think that's a band.
Look, it's the same, right?
some mobile metabolic assessment device or rock group. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Indie rock group.
They're both equally good for your gut health.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. So like you came out, did that.
Yeah.
You then eventually get accepted.
Yeah. So second round of obviously, I think a lot of people went from Ben's or like bachelor exercise nutrition into medicine, or they wanted to get into medicine. So there were people who,
so it was like the fun undergrad.
Yeah, it was. You could either do like biomedical science or exercise nutrition science. And so I think a bunch of people who got offers in the first round for dietetics went with medicine. That meant that like I got to be the afterthought, which was sweet. But like no one cares about your GPA, so I got in. And just went through the masters, which was fine. It was
12 months course
18. Oh, it's all it was all really
like a blend.
UQ blends it. So I didn't actually do a solid prac. You did like 2 days of prac a week.
That's
all
cool.
year.
Though. That's cool. You didn't like it?
It had it was really good for me as the learner, but it was terrible for the people I was being placed with. So like hospitals didn't like us because they couldn't get any momentum. With us, you know what I mean?
I've heard.
And so
the
like,
hospitals were not a fan of that because I had people from Griffith.
Totally, you just can't UQ diet like. It's harder from that perspective because you can't manage a caseload, right? Because you like instead of a 6-week block where you start knowing nothing, but you have 6 solid weeks to improve
yourself. Yeah.
So in terms of being able to have my coursework coincide with practical stuff, that was really awesome. But yeah, there was definitely the downside was the not really building any rapport or connection with the actual places.
And how much was like private practice like of that prac?
Minor. It's like
200 hours of it was like
not even
total,
that. Like, so we did hospital, aged care, lots of aged care.
Yeah. So much is like medical. Dietetics.
Yeah. And I did the only private practice I did was at Headspace. So we did some Headspace stuff. Like, and on the other hand, I get it as a private practice owner. Like I've had a student recently and it's hard. Like, and she was awesome. So it's nothing to do with her. It's just like, it's hard to provide a valuable, or at least I found a valuable experience. And it's something I want to improve on in the future, but I get.
You know why? It's because their hours are so limited though. Like, if you had them for 1,000 hours, you'd be like, sweet, 400. You're just going to be on the phone learning how to talk to people.
Yeah, totally. It's just a lot of shadowing, you know, and then like
there's only so much you can get out of shadowing as well.
Yeah, totally. At one point you got to do, but then like as the business, you have to have systems in place, and you have to have structures, and it takes a lot of your time as well. So, and
then there's the clients that are like, no, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah. So it's definitely a big undertaking for the business. So I get it, but it did mean that for most of my study, private practice was just sort of something we talked about. And like there was the uni clinic, you know, they do uni clinics and students can come for like $20 to see a dietitian, that kind of stuff. So we did some of that, but
it's not the same.
It's hard. Yeah, totally. It's I don't know how you would perfectly emulate actually working in private practice because it's so.
I have my ideas, but
like we'll talk. We'll talk. Because it's definitely lacking. You know, I think even down to
the irony is that 95% of the work is in private practice, and prac is geared for the like, or not even like 90. Let's just say the 1%, those 2 jobs we were joking about. Prac is geared for giving like to like get you successfully getting that job.
Yeah,
and then private practice is an afterthought, and that's where like.
There's no talk about like client retention, client onboarding, client journey, like any of that
client
stuff.
Buy-in,
which
client adherence.
Like, I think it's like it sounds like gross business, but it's if you want to get clients results, you need all that stuff. And if that's like at the end of the day, that's our job.
Yeah,
client results, whether it's reducing gut symptoms, changing body composition, improving performance, managing diabetes. It doesn't matter what it is. And I think that whole world of client relationships was just like not discussed.
And it's which is so important. And then there's like referring practitioner relationships as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like, okay, well, cool. I'm just going to start networking with GPs, and it's like, cool. Like, go in there and
they
shout
don't care.
Them lunch. Yeah, right.
I did that for about 6 months after I graduated.
You got 5 months. You got 5 minutes of their time at their lunch break, and they're like, cool.
Food.
Yeah.
Again, don't blame them. They're like they're swamped. Even worse, post pandemic. But like, you just don't get taught that stuff.
No. And it'd be good to be able to get like those reps in whilst you're a student.
Yeah. Or even just aware of the existence of it. I think there is definitely like you'll graduate and then you'll see clients, and then there's no mention of like how are you getting those clients? You know, how are you keeping those clients
and keeping them happy?
Yeah, exactly. Which is obviously
getting testimonials, but in a way that like you can promote yourself effectively.
Well,
like,
we can't use testimonials, so
yeah,
but
right. but you
word of mouth, definitely encouraging word of mouth. Yeah, just any
shout outs on social.
Any
that kind of
any
stuff.
of that.
Yeah.
So which is
no before and afters though.
no, that's okay. I'm all right with that.
To be honest, mate, like I think
we've caught on that they're like,
I think it's a crutch that people use to like blame the system, and it's like, hey, if you're a dietitian and you're saying, oh, I'm not getting clients because I can't advertise with before and afters, like that's not the reason you're not getting clients.
No. There's probably bigger problems there.
Yeah.
Like if you're good at what you do, you might need to prompt people to share, right? But most of the time, like if they're getting good results, they'll tell people.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need a progress photo to sell that.
Well, before and after, especially if you like, unless you want someone that's interested in like only working with you for 8 weeks, then, and like they want to have really good before and after photos, then yeah, you're really shooting yourself in the foot by being a dietitian, not being able to share that. But I don't know many dietitians that I've spoken to who have that specific business model.
That's like do a gym challenge.
Yeah.
If that's what you want. Like,
yeah.
That's, you know, if you want long lasting health and behavior change, sure. But, yeah, it's a funny space.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So like, I think, you know, moving on from that, all right, we've got the grads now, they're coming out, they're doing this kind of thing. And you know, like if someone wants to be like you, what would be your advice, all things considered?
Oh man. That's a big question.
You're on the spot here. And you've only got 2 minutes and it has to be the best answer.
All right. Be me. Right. How do I no?
Well, just succeed in private practice, right? So success is subjective anyway. But let's say you get to the point where you've got a full book of clients that you like working with.
Yeah.
That, you know, share the values that you espouse in practice to the point where if you want to take someone on under you, you can.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Because I mean, mate, like, it might feel weird to hear this, but it's like, dude, that's like the dream for like 90% of clinicians out there.
Yeah. I think, like relentlessly focusing on your service is the best thing that you can possibly do. You know, like every week I'm tweaking the, you know, documentation or the ad, not the marketing, but like the design, or I'm changing the wording on that, or I'm like tweaking our templates, or I'm, you know, you're constantly improving, or like the client communication. And so you're just so focused on how can I improve my systems and my service till they're like better than anyone else's, which is, you know, subjective, of course, and there's no way of measuring that. But if that's, and I think that's all I've ever focused on. And even in the first like 12 months, I did zero marketing, didn't ask for referrals, which is stupid, by the way. If anyone's listening, ask for referrals straight. Like, that's really important. And I definitely
have a way of formalizing your referral.
So dumb. But like for 12
requests,
it wasn't on my, because again, it's not touched on at uni. So you just like, so I was like, what do I know how to do? Get better at being a dietitian. And I just focused on that. And that word of mouth just grew enough to the point where like, okay, now I can start thinking about Facebook ads or proper referral partners, or like, you know, you can kind of systematize that. And you could definitely do it a lot earlier than I did as well. But I think the number one thing is like, if you don't have 100% confidence in your abilities and service, like why is someone going to give you money? You know? So I think that's just the main thing that I've focused on. If you're good, that helps.
Yeah. And I think, like, just on the back of that, right? Like, I think that's hit the nail on the head. And I think something that you said that I wanted to highlight was like, if you don't believe in your services, no one else will. It's okay if you don't for a period, but just like go and work for someone for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
and you still like, I still have crippling doubt 4 or 5 times per day. Don't get me wrong, right? Like you still, it's not like, oh man, I'm amazing, but it's like,
what? It's not?
I know. Surprise.
I'm around Michael and he is like that every hour of the day. He's just killing it, man. The vibe.
Well, it's all right for some. He's nodding, but no, I like, it's okay to be unsure of things. And yeah, totally. If you're completely like, I don't think I've got it, or now's not the time, like, not everyone needs to run a business. And I know it's hard to say that as someone running a business, but like,
I think it needs to be said more.
There's a lot to be said for like not having to figure out how to tag someone with a Facebook pixel so you can chase them around the internet at 2 a.m, you know, and not having to be like, oh man, my email system's broken down, so I need to go, like, to just be like, I'm going to rock up.
Or like server uploads.
Yep. Right. Like, I definitely understand the appeal of like showing up, doing a great job, doing a bit of CPD, you know, and then leaving. But
I think on the flip, you still got to have those referral generating capacities and client buy-in. You just don't have the responsibility
like
of like
stuff.
Yeah.
And that's another big thing as well that I think gets missed. Well, it's particularly in dietetics. Like if you're in dietetics, you're in business.
Yeah.
You're in sales. You know, if you're in nutrition, you're in sales. Because even if you're not
big time,
even if you're not selling people, like I'm trying to sell vegetables.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm trying to sell the idea to someone of like, hey, could you add some protein to your breakfast? And so that's sales
to a world that like really wants the instant fix.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you, whether you like it or not, you're in some form of sales, and just broadening that definition a little bit to like, you then need to promote to other people. And again, it comes back to if you're confident in your ability. I've always struggled with the concept of sales, but I've gotten a lot better at thinking about it lately to be like, can you help them? And if internally my answer is no, then I won't, like, done. But if my answer is like, yes, I can help them, then like, why would I not try and help them? Like, that's not okay. And so I think as a dietitian, understanding that even if you work for somebody else, there is going to be that expectation of like, you need to be focusing on growing your reach and focusing. And reach, I know, sounds like social media, but it doesn't have to be at all. Like,
that was going to be a question.
I will absolutely hire someone in the future who's not on social media, right? But their reach is going to be that the fact that they've plugged in with allied health professionals in the area, they're plugged in with gyms, they're plugged in with GPs, you know, that's their reach. And so like, they kind of, I've heard the expression own your postcode, you know, and so they're still doing that information, because that work, because someone who can do that, of course I'm going to hire them over someone who's just going to sit there, and even if they're a great dietitian, but they're just waiting for me to give them clients. You know, any business owner is going to pick, if you've got two good practitioners and one also has a few referral streams, like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
But because we don't get taught that at uni, a lot of people come out
with an expectation.
Like it is a bit of it is that kind of, I guess, spoiled.
No, I would just say it's an unrealistic expectation.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like when I had the training in our health center, we would get student dietitians, like ex-phys students in like doing the master's program, like masters in EP that had a little bit more prac hours required. And I was like, it was sort of like day one at like basic training for like the military. It's like maggots a bit, like, you know, I wasn't saying that. I was like, but like, guess what? Like, you need to learn this. And if you don't, you're going to fail. Like,
yeah.
And some of them were like, well, fuck this, I'm going to talk to my lecturer. And they just bailed after the first. And I was like, cool, talk to them. And then a week later, they'd be like, wow, I spoke to them. And I was like, yeah, it's not their responsibility to tell you, whilst I would say it is. You got to understand that they're here to teach you these things.
Yeah.
And like their success is predicated on your ability to pass what they have to teach you.
Well, the
ones who give a shit beyond that and they're good at that, they'll tell you, oh, this is what your career aspirations look like. So, and this is what the job market's like. So just beware of it.
Yeah.
But you probably only get that from like 1 in 10 or 20 lecturers.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also a level as well of, they kind of need to get people into the degree, right? And so if they tell them like, and by the way, you're also going to have to work really hard to get clients. A lot of people are like, oh, I didn't know that was going to be a part of it. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And then also the fact that they've got limited course time, and a lot of them, like, you know, some of my lectures, like 400 people. So it's like their job is to teach you the biochemistry of the liver.
Cell. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, so on the other, I think it's more, I would like to see more business specific subjects that are more real world related. Rather than like, I had a subject where the assignment was, so you've just bought a private practice. What do you blah, blah, and I was like, hold on a second. How did I get the 150K together to buy the private? Like, I think we've missed a few steps in the business journey of a practitioner here. So like, I'd really like to see a bit more of a practical, like, hey, here's how to take payments, right? Like that's pretty important. Here's how to, you know, set up referral pathways. Here's how to nurture clients. Here's how to just all of that stuff. You know, here's how to finish a consult and talk about the longer journey that you guys are going to go on together. So I don't begrudge the lecturers who don't always cover that stuff, but I'm a bit annoyed that uni doesn't recognize that this is a critical topic that isn't being discussed. You know?
Yeah, I think it's just mate, I could talk for hours on this, but I think what we're seeing, and this is just me being a complete, what would you call it? What's the word? Cynic.
Is this where I'm supposed to be like, I'm not with him?
100% distance yourself from me now aggressively. But like there's a few sort of I would say like societal institutions that are evolving and like evolving / mutating. I would say mutating into things that are away from the initial intended, like, or the initial intention of where they came from and where they started. And so to me, universities massively are, as well as politics. Like politics these days is just more about retaining your seat, keeping votes, staying in, and then networking, getting yourself a good job afterwards. Like to me, it's like if you're going to be like an actual politician, you'd be a public servant. So like, don't go in there, don't take a wage, don't do any of that shit. People are now becoming like career politicians, which has completely shifted away from the initial intention, which is just like there to serve the public for the greater good. And like I see universities doing a very similar thing where it's more of a business, and the business of like in politics, the business of being re-elected or negotiating a great job for when you finish, the business of putting bums in seats, teaching them and getting them graduating at this percentage and blah, blah, blah is taking away from the intention of really robust education for success in a career and a really amazing immersive learning environment. Like universities back in the early 1900s, like were very different places to what they are now.
I didn't really go to my uni.
No,
I was definitely like, what? Oh, this is online. It's recorded. I'm not going. So I was a bad student on that front. I had a lot of life things going on as well. But yeah, it's. I became a dietitian, so I don't have to have the answers to those questions.
Yeah, big time.
That's too hard. That's outside my pay grade.
I'm way too neurotic. Yeah. I ruminate on this shit. I'm like, no, I don't like this. Don't like the system.
I'm very good at putting my head in the sand.
I need to be better at that.
My
for
wife
sure.
can attest to that.
So, in terms of the following, because you mentioned it before, you got a pretty good following.
Thank you. Yeah,
better than ours, man. And you were way better on social than what I am. I'm pretty dog shit.
I really enjoy it. It's always been something that, like, I think in a former life, I was kind of like, I was into music and not art, but like creative writing and stuff. And so it's sort of been a fairly natural progression, which is cool. And even like I taught music, so like education has always been part of it. And I think I got lucky in the fact that Instagram, well, not now, let's not go there, but at least, when did I start it? Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, is like it's the perfect platform to combine all those things. So it's been like, it's definitely, I can't say it's definitely been an important part of my business. Like I've gotten lots of clients from Instagram. I think if it suits your skill set, social media is really powerful and you should absolutely be on it.
Yeah.
I think too many people think it's the be all and end all and think they're gonna make a business out of it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm a little bit more like, your job one is be the best practitioner you can possibly be. But I think there's some people who think if you're big on social media, you can't be the best practitioner you possibly can be. And I push back on that a little bit. But you do need to be constantly focused on, like, so for me, Instagram still is a hobby. Like I'll go like a week without posting because I just don't have anything to say. And I'm also fortunate enough to be in a position where, have a large enough following where I don't need to, I'm not doing the grind work of posting 5-7 times per week and constantly on stories and stuff. So I think because of that, I've been able to keep doing it because it doesn't feel like, oh God, I got to do another social media post today. What am I going to write? I'm just like, I'm just not going to do it. But yeah,
I'm definitely a lot more of, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah. Which is, I don't know.
But that's changing.
Cool. Yeah. It's when I started, I posted about a different fruit and a different vegetable every day. So a photo was literally just me holding an apple and then me talking about an apple in the caption. So if that's where I started, anyone can do it. Because like, it was not quality content. Like, who wanted to read about an apple?
Mate, some people, they found it great.
Obviously, but no.
They were like, I never knew that about that apple.
Well, I do that, and then I do like a text-based post once a week, and I'd be like, hang on, these 4 fruit and vegetable posts are getting like 10 likes, and the text-based post is getting 100 likes. maybe I should do more of those. And so like, that's probably the extent to my social media marketing strategy is that
trial and error. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. And what do I like? If I, as self-serving as it sounds, if I get a nose laugh out of something, I'm like, okay, I'll post it. If I don't like it, I'm not going to post it. Cause I think that's the main, and this is the other big thing about social media and followings. It's not about the size. It's not about the size of your following. It's how you use it. I'm so sorry, mom and dad, but it's like you don't need a big following to get lots of clients out of it. And so I think there's too much focus on posts to grow rather than posts to communicate your personality, your experience, your knowledge, and that is what gains. That's what turns followers into clients.
Yeah.
And so I would say that I don't think I think I've grown 15 to 20,000 in the last 2 years following wise. And I don't get more clients per week from social media than I did back then. I still average the same amount because I make sure I'm focusing on posts. Like I post posts that I know won't do particularly well, but I know they're of interest to my current followers, rather than if I mention certain supplement brands, then those blow up and go viral, and that's all great. And you get lots of followers.
That one like 2 months ago, but
that was a good time.
It wasn't.
Yeah. So like that's great for.
I was
followers.
so late to that, man.
Oh, I was
like a month and a half late to it. I was like,
I was not prepared, but that's okay. Like that talking about that sort of stuff is going to get more of an interest, but those are just followers. Whereas posting, here's my top 6 frozen meals. It's like a lot of people, that's not going to get shared, so you're not going to grow from that, but then you are helping people and providing value. And so then you become, I'm Jono's the nutrition guy that they think of. So when they themselves have a nutrition problem or their family or friend does, they're going to be like, oh, you need to go see Jono. And you can do that with 500 followers.
Yeah. And that was going to be my question, was like, to the practitioners out there, and they say, oh, I want to replicate what Jono's done in terms of like some of the aspects. They might think, well, I'm not going to get 20,000 followers or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Do you need that?
No. I've always prided myself on the engagement that I get. Like I get pretty good likes per in the last few months since Instagram.
Oh
yeah. It's definitely changed.
So are you going to go to TikTok?
No, I'm too old for TikTok. I don't understand it. It's and you think Instagram.
I've got one. I've got
one too.
Up.
Yeah. I think I put 2 reels from Instagram over onto TikTok.
Oh, I haven't done anything.
It's
starting next week.
What's the date, everyone? What's the date? But yeah, it's I've lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Following size. Yeah. No, it's definitely you should be. It comes back to just focus on being good. If you're focusing on improving your content, like if you build it, they will come. And if they haven't come yet, then you just need to keep building it.
Yeah. And I think like, I always think a nice size is like, people might think, oh, I need a few thousand. You honestly don't. Like if you've got like 700-800, that's sufficient.
I think, between 800 and 1,000, because that, if you can get like some followers, if you can convert some of them into clients, then you just work on word of mouth after that, so it's not just,
you're looking at like a 5 to 10% conversion.
Totally. Yeah. But people get hung up on what's called vanity metrics. And I get it. Like, do I want 1 million followers? Absolutely. Oh man, I don't know. There's certain headaches with messages and comments and things that happens, but like, of course I'm wanting it to continue to grow, but that's almost, if we talk about behavior change and fat loss, it's like, that's the goal, but I'm focused on the actions that are going to achieve that goal rather than like, what's my follow account?
Exactly. Being process driven rather than outcome driven.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So before we wrap up, what are some of the things that are grinding your gears?
Too many to count. But like, I think it all sits under the umbrella of fear. I know that's always been around, but I don't know if it's just, I've moved outside of my echo chamber now and I'm noticing it more and more, but like the weaponization of fear of foods, fear of supplements, fear of chemicals, fear of additives, and then using that guilt to get parents to buy their kid the organic, expensive yogurt, and, or using that fear to stop them, buying that product, eating Wheat Bix and all of those sorts of things. And just the really, that use of fear that's coming from such a privileged place. And I constantly, and this isn't one of those like I've lost track of, but I literally have lost track of the amount of times in a week I will get a message from someone being like, is this like, this post is like terrified me. Like, can I give my kids orange juice? And it's like, oh, like it's exhausting. And I feel so bad for the lay public out there who can't separate between the accounts that are just trying to, you know, weaponize fear. So anyway, that's my rant on fear. That's definitely overarchingly the main thing I see. It's not a like, hey, here's all the things you should be doing to improve your health. It's here's why Weet-Bix are going to give you leaky gut and colon cancer and you will die. You know? Which
I'm not a fan. Yeah. I've seen it a lot recently in your stories as well, like debunking stuff. So like, hey, send me the pictures, blah, blah, I'll debunk it.
I think that was when I moved outside my echo chamber.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's so much garbage that I was unaware of. But I think trying really hard to shoot the message, not the messenger, which is important.
That's a better approach.
Yeah. And because too many times people respond to tone, and I got it very wrong a lot of the time. But like, you know, doesn't matter what I'm saying. If I'm saying it a bit aggressively or as a dick, most people switch off. You know,
it's funny, man. Like on social as well. Like I've had times where like prospective students, and this is something that is just like on mine that'll be sort of like different to other people's, where I've got a work Instagram account, right? I've got a personal one. I got maybe like 100 followers, right? It's just like I post a lot of dumb shit.
5 to 10% conversion there.
5 to 10 students there. But like I got my work one, and I'll post stuff about that. People will get in there. A prospective student will get in there and start interacting with me and like disagreeing with me.
Yeah.
But in a very informal social media way. And it's like, cool. I'm like the head of the association. And I'm not saying this in a manner where I'm like super egoic or anything like that. I'm saying in the sense where it's like, oh, I'm vicariously liable for how every single member, at least within Australia, practices. And it tends to be the Australians that interacted a bit more funnily. And these are like our prospective students and prospective members.
Yeah.
And so like I'll interact and be like, I'm just flagging this. Maybe you shouldn't do our program.
Yeah.
Because I'm coming in from I don't want to put my neck on the line for this person.
No.
And they think I'm being a dick. When in reality, I'm like, not. I'm just trying to flag that like these behaviors and these outlooks and these approaches are not conducive with being a sound practitioner.
Yeah.
I'm flagging it now as someone that's going to like be like endorsing your insurance policy and registration. And it's sort of like that. It's like social has informalized things to the point where everyone's so accessible that it's like, I look like a dick for like pulling them up in a more formal sense. Cause it's like, well, this account really just exists to aware people of like things that like you're not like we've discussed, like that unis aren't telling you and all this kind of stuff, because I'm just trying to do right by the industry and like, and the professionals within it. So that way we've got it. So yeah, it's been funny. Like people will be like, oh, you come across like a dick. And I'm like, I really like, I have no option at this point. Like I have to flag that at that point in time, because it's like, how are they going to interact with our staff? How are they going to interact with the assessment team? How are they going to interact with the insurers? How are they going to interact when it's like audit time and we flag that they haven't done all this kind of stuff? So like, I have to flag this at that point.
Yeah.
There's sort of no way around it. And I'm like, I don't really care. It's just a funny thing that I'm sharing at this point in time. Yeah.
People just don't like, there is a level as well though, of like, they don't like getting disagreed with.
Yeah.
And so people take that
big time
personally, instead of where you're like, no, like this is just calmly, these are the facts, take it or leave it. You know, I think being okay with other people being wrong helps, because I'm like, no, these are the facts. If you want to ignore that and continue to be wrong, I'm not going to chase you down. But like,
I don't lose sleep over it at all, man. I don't sit there like with any of that stuff at all. I'm like, from my end, I'm like, oh, I would rather that door be closed and
totally
not have to worry about that person's prospective liability down the track.
Way bigger headache in the future.
Yeah, like the thing is, like it's pretty daunting. Like we you know the Norman Lowe case in Adelaide.
Oh yeah.
So like he kept calling himself an accredited sports nutritionist.
Yeah.
And so we were getting blown up about it, and he never came through us.
Yeah.
And if he did, like we would be like, mate,
on it.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? This needs to change. Otherwise, like, you know, like we're reporting you as well. Like this is fucking bad. So he wasn't ours, man. Inboxes blowing up from members of the public, fucking health commissioners on the phone to us. It's not a fun time. So it's like, that's my frame of reference when this stuff comes up. I'm like, oh, is this someone that I want to be handling these calls for if something goes wrong? And I'm like, no, like, and I think, And social media, it's funny because it's all such short form content, especially on Instagram, that it's like, that's something that's definitely missed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's my TED Talk rant on that. So I'm not being a dick for the sake of being a dick.
Yeah. You've got like a minute, right? Or you've got like 15. I think you've got a minute. But like, yeah,
200 characters.
Some nuance
caption,
and some context will be lost.
Yeah.
Like, but there's always one.
Yeah.
Or more than one.
So speaking of rants, let's talk about a rant that we are passionate about.
Is this what I think? Is this my line of supplements?
This is your line of supplements.
The Jonathan Steedman supplements.
The Jonathan Steedman
Health.
Steedman Health supplements.
We could call it JS Health to shorten it, I guess.
Yeah. The
Jonathan Steedman's a bit of a mouthful.
J-S Health.
Yeah, health is also HELTH.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
A lot of people mess that up.
There's a number of supplement brands that aren't like yours. And
it's a shame.
They're not a fan of comparison and objective review.
I think the thing that always pops to mind when that situation occurs is the Shakespeare, the lady doth protest too much. Right? That's all I can think. It's like, if you have to, like, that to me is the biggest red flag, because if someone came at me about my service, I would either be able to say, you're right, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, and here's how we're going to fix that. Or,
which is like the best way of doing things.
Totally. Yeah. Because then, like, A, my service improves, and B, I look good. So I'm like, it hurts initially when you get negative feedback, but it always ends well, right? If you do it properly. And then, or I'll turn around and be like, oh, actually, that's not the case. You're mistaken. Here's why that's not the case. Instead of just like, how could you be so rude? How could you be so mean? We're an Australian company. That's one I hear all the time as well when I'll mention that a supplement company.
Oh, I know.
We're a small Australian business. Like, I don't care. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your product, and whether Coca-Cola Amatil makes it or mum and pop make it in their garage. That's not what's on trial here. So if you have to go to such great lengths to character assassinate the person who has brought up the issue, or to talk about why you're so great, or try and shut down any form of public criticism, why are you so uncomfortable with it?
For me, it's character assassination, and then the attempt to like formally, legally silence.
Obviously, because they clearly do not have a defense. Yeah. Otherwise, they would use it, because, like we said, the defense looks far better than just trying to shut it up. So the lady doth protest too much.
Way too much. Yeah. So a few of our members, including some other professional members from and other practitioners, have received some cease and desists for potential defamation things.
Yes.
Unfortunately, doesn't stand up against $300 million companies.
You were saying.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
It ain't defamation if you've got over 20 employees in Australia. Some of these companies have well over 20 employees. Yeah. So there's a number of them. And coincidentally, a lot have been slapped with fines with from the TGA. Yeah.
I'm sure that's just a misunderstanding.
There was one that was Jackson was doing a comparison on the fat loss creams.
Oh, yeah.
And they contacted UWA, University of Western Australia, and like went like legal to them to like stop it as well. Yeah. So like it went that far, to the point where it was going to like affect his ability to graduate. Like he was toward the end of his like PhD.
Again, it's that
pretty messed up.
Characters like shooting the messenger instead of shooting the message. So if Jackson's message,
it's peer-reviewed research.
I know. Yeah. If Jackson's message was wrong, then they should have been able to unpack that. But clearly they couldn't, because
no.
So then they went the other route of like, okay, well, we'll just try and shut him down.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And like you said, I didn't realize those letters aren't maybe as legitimate, and so it's just that using that fear to slap people around, and you get that scary.
And then doubling down. Like, doubling down on the fear.
I've got to stop. But
it's funny, like and like it's a hard one. Really grinds my gears, but it'll be good to see. Hopefully, Danny and Alan do a Quack Asylum episode on it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
I haven't done one of them in a while. Did you get back on the?
Yeah, course? I think they're going to be doing it soon. Yeah, they were like, oh, let's create some content when we're here for
that's right,
conference and stuff. And I was like, no. What I would like you to do is, I would like to sponsor an episode on the Quack Asylum about these particular brands,
please. Oh, that would be,
because Alan's a barrister.
Yeah, I know. I know. His stuff is, I have to turn off all noise to read his stuff is so dense, but I mean that in the most, like, in the best possible way. That man is so smart.
Yeah.
He's too smart.
Yeah. It makes you feel dumb. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But incredible is what he's done for my knowledge of nutrition is huge.
Super smart.
Content. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Danny, like, both just powerhouses of
Killing it.
of the industry. Yeah.
The Sigma powerhouses.
Oh,
they're a big fan of your TikTok attempted a video with the music and the pointing and the random.
Right. Yeah.
They were at dinner at mine, and I was talking about you doing the gut health thing. And like, oh, Danny's like, this is the guy with the hilarious video.
Well, that has just made my year. So that's amazing. Yeah. No, I point so many dietitians at the Sigma Nutrition podcast because it just takes, not just dietitians, sorry, but like I've mentored dietitians. So that's sort of where my mind goes. But just any practitioner, once study is finished, that's like the best.
Yeah, subscribe to the premium as well. Like, get the notes.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Because it just saves you so much time.
The amount of times I'm like, oh, what did they mention in that podcast? I can't remember. You just go back, you find it. It's done. You get all the references. It's killer.
You're loving it.
Yeah.
Well, bro, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. My pleasure.